So as people are nipping in, I will just check I've added everything where we want to be on there as well. Live for you. Start that one. Hopefully, we're going out in the groups.
I saw one notification, I believe, for the inner circle. I didn't look at all the other places yet, but I believe that we are there. And then we can start admitting people that want to join.
Yeah. Live for you. So those that are watching on Facebook, we're having a break for a couple of weeks, and we'll be back on January the 7th, if I remember right, Robert.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. Right, I've got one more profile to go live on. Which is an easier way to do this. I can't multitask. That's the thing, Robert.
Sure you can. 10 fingers.
That's what I need. Oh, sometimes, right.
I'm not going to start singing, and I'm not going to start dancing. So you got to get it finished up.
Right. Okay.
But we do have some updates, of course, as always, as we go forward.
Just make sure
we're not the only ones out there that are busy. I mean, everybody's working on websites. Everybody's trying to get ready for their holidays. Everybody's got family stuff going on, between traveling here and there. I mean, Christmas is upon us. You don't realize how quickly it comes up.
Yeah.
Today's already the 17th. So we're not far away.
Right, I'm going to fire people into the group. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Here they slowly pop in. Hello, Lynn. Hi Bernard.
Hi, Robert.
We got Bob in the group, Chris in the group,
Hi,
Chris and Kurt. Evening, everyone.
Hello.
How's it going?
Very, 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 very well, and super busy. We've had a lot of great feedback from people on the themes, and our devs have been doing some tweaks to make them even better than before. So if you do pick up on something, raise a support ticket with us on the support desk, and we'll happily make sure that everything is all resolved and sorted for everyone. That's why we're here, to make sure that these become super reliable for you guys, and that, and ultimately that's why we do the Q&As for you as well each week. So and so everyone's aware we're going to be taking a break. So we return on January the 7th, if I got the date right, Friday, January the 7th. And what we're going to do is set the link up in the group so that the Zoom meetings repeat. So you get notifications from Zoom each week when we go live in here, just to make your life a wee bit easier. I've been learning Zoom slowly, so teaching old dog new tricks, I guess.
And we'll have the support desk open, of course. It may not be as quick as we would like it to be in some cases, because I am going to be traveling for the holidays myself, and we would just have to take a little break. It's been a tough 6 months.
Yeah.
But very, very exciting on how so many things have developed for people so quickly. And look at this chat. This is wonderful. People showing up live to ask their questions and get updates. And the one thing that comes to my mind right now at the moment is Bernard. Here's a guy that walked in, had spent quite a bit of time and effort doing his own things, getting his mind right to proceed forward. And like all of us, bought the programs, bought the dream of different things that should work, but sometimes they don't. And that's one of the reasons why Steve and I are so passionate about the Done For You Magic Themes, because we also did the same thing, spend lots of money, bought lots of programs, and we're left hanging at the goal line in many cases of what's the next step. I mean, twice, and that's where I get frustrated and my passion comes out, because twice, not once, I had a very gifted person in training take me through the entire course, have Facebook ads set up, have them running, spending money, and say, next week, we're going to optimize the ads so you can really start to see where you'll be fruitful instead of just spending money. And never hear another word about the course or the program. And you're like, what do you mean you're out of town? What do you, and then it just drops and they're no longer reachable. And that to me is worse than anything else. So it's not uncommon for the course to be sold. And once the check or the credit card clears, you never reach support again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can refund it. Yeah, you can do things. But in many cases, I think the real big rule there is 90% of the time, people don't even ask for the refund because they don't get to get back to it, even though they purchased it. And by the time they get back to it, the 30 days have went by and it's too late to get the refund. Or if there was a refund, depending on what was purchased. In many cases, it's a $27 item, it's a $47 item. We don't sweat that. But when you get into these $1,000, $10,000 programs, $5,000 programs, and they don't deliver, it's very frustrating. Sorry, I went off on that tangent, but
we're here.
Look at Bernard did this week. He came in, he went through, getting hit in the head with the 2x4 a few times, and he said, you know what, I'm going to work on this. And he said,
told you I don't give up.
You don't give up. And man, when you hit the ground running, you hit the ground running. And I almost have to pull you back and slow you down a little bit because you built 5 sites in, I think, 6 or 7 days. I guess you gave yourself time to eat, but that's incredible. And I am, and so is Stephen, very proud of what you did, because what you did is you said, I'm not going to be caught up in, what's the phrase I had recently? Somebody said to me, it's screw the how, just do it. And when we overcompensate trying to figure out how every little detail works, we don't do anything. And that's what you proved there, Bernard, by just taking the action, follow the training, hitting the buttons, sites are built. Now, is there more to learn? Absolutely. And you're going to go through
we got lots to teach, Robert. Yeah. It's yeah. And the thing is, we release stuff as we go along because we don't want people feeling overwhelmed, because it's so easy to get overwhelmed in any program. And just to mention in the chat, Ron's, but when was the electrical site last updated? Our devs updated it this week. So you should, when you download the current file, that should be the latest version. If there's any issues, please let us know. Can you walk us through the proper way to reinstall the update theme without messing up anything else up on the website? I think I can set something up, Robert. It might take me a few minutes.
We want you to go in and screw them up, because that's how you really learn.
What I will do, because
what do you mean, Ron? What are you saying, though? That's how you learn the most. No,
what we'll actually do is, because we like to do help and support on here, as soon as we finish this call tonight, because I've got to go shopping tomorrow, I haven't had time to do anything. So what I'll do tonight, I'll do the quick run. I'll record it straight afterwards and get it in the members area, and then you can watch it. And if you have any problems following it, then raise a support ticket, and I'll try and hop on with you. Or do a small group where we can, of people who might be struggling to do the updates. It'd be easier for me to do that step by step than rush through it tonight, and I might miss something, because I like to make sure it's correct.
Who asked that question? Was it Ron?
That was Ron, yeah.
Ron, if you've already done your alt tags and descriptions, then it's one process. It's a little bit harder of a process. If you haven't done your alt tags and descriptions, it's really just a reset of the files.
Yeah, I've done all the alt tags and description.
Okay, first question I have for you, because Lynn will tell you the best thing you can do is put all your alt tags and descriptions into some kind of a Word document or a spreadsheet, so you always have those. If you didn't do them at the first go round, okay, that way you have the backup copy of the content, and you also it's a good reference to when you build the next site that's like it, in the same niche so that you can alter them a little bit different from the first one.
Yeah.
But we'll show you both ways, but I was just trying to cut to the chase that if you don't have all your alt tags done or descriptions on your images, that's a simpler process than if you do. It still can be done. It's just some extra steps involved.
Well, I had to have all that done because you said it goes step by step.
Absolutely.
Ron, the best thing to do, if you haven't already, drop a support ticket in with your login details. All right, and then what I will do is we'll do a process on the server where we'll do a backup of the database, and then we'll see if we can upgrade it without you losing your alt images. And then moving forward, we'll show other people how to do the updates. But this update shouldn't remove the alt images the way it is, but I want to make sure I do a backup of your database first before I run through it. All right.
All right, great. Thank you.
Special guest star just came in. Santa, you don't have time for these calls.
Who's that? Sorry?
Don.
Oh, he's
Jingle
muted. You're muted, Don.
Yeah, I'm in between test runs.
He's getting ready. He's getting ready to get on his sleigh on Christmas Eve. Can you make sure you do my kid's house first because they're super excited.
Yeah.
Calling the favors from Santa himself. So if anyone's got any questions, please raise your hand. Because otherwise I'll miss you on the system, and you'll peer. I've seen we got Chris there, so we'll swap you guys over, and I'm getting used to all this swapping people around now. So we'll put Santa back up there for the moment, and let's have a look a minute, find the right person. Was it Chris, wasn't it? Yeah. Let's unmute yourself, Chris, and I'll add you to Spotlight. We can't hear you yet.
Bernard has his hand up, and so does Lynn.
Yeah. Subtitles are on page 888. I'll do some sign. I can't do sign language, but do we on your mic? You got a little microphone symbol in the bottom corner on Zoom, and we'll give you a few minutes see if you can fix it. Yeah, and we'll come back to you in a minute. So hopefully we might hear him in a minute. Let's drop Bernard into the Spotlight, and then we'll bring Lynn in afterwards. Oh, hang on a minute. I did the wrong thing there. Let me just switch this. Add to Spotlight. I'm doing well tonight, aren't I? Me and technology. Yeah, I build these things technically. You all right, Bernard?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. I just want to make sure, who was it? Was it Ron just talking about something? But on the alt text and the images, we should have those in before we minimize, correct?
It makes no difference. The minify part, all that does is hides the Magic Page plugin, plain and simple. Okay. So imagine that 10,000 sites were built over a period of a month by 10,000 people, and everyone had Magic Page plugin on it. Suddenly, you got a situation that Google can see that, and they go, "Well, these must be spam sites because they're mass page builder sites." So you minify it, and that hides the plugin completely. All right, and that's why you change the URL structure and other bits like that as well in the training, and that's done. So the only reason we say do a backup first is in future training we're going to be showing you how to take that site that you built, and you can actually restore it using WP Vivid. So you could build a site, have it all set up and ready to go, and keep a copy of it to make the process even quicker to do another install. Now, that's one way of doing it. That I don't like WP Vivid so much, because if you've got a backup that's 6 months old and you do a restore, the updates won't be on it, and it can cause problems. So we prefer to teach you to say, look, if there's no backup, don't use it, and use the install process instead, because it's a fresh install. You get a fresh database, and there's no issues there then.
Here's a big cloud around the minify part, and this is what part of all the frustrations are, is the minify really resonates out there in the MPP community as being must be done, but must be done after you create your evergreen website. So meaning that you have a website that you're going to have a copy of, you still want the MPP information left in there before you minify. You then copy that site because you're going to put it on multiple location domains like other places. So the confusion out there, not part of the DFI Magic program, let me make that clear, is you minify after you've created your evergreen site so that you have the original copy to then put on your other domains. In the Done For You Magic themes, you're already classified as an evergreen site with the file downloads from the members area. That's the big difference. You still are going to minify each time you do a domain name to hide the magic page in the URL structure so that they don't look all like the same sites out there on the internet to Google. But that's where there's a lot of confusion in that area. And you can minify earlier, and you can take the minify off. But the reality is when you download the file from Done For You Magic Themes member area, that's technically a evergreen site without locations on it, because you guys are putting the locations. You guys are putting the specific content of the names, the phone numbers, the contact, that stuff that makes your sites unique. I hope that helps. And
Yeah.
Question about being able to minify right away, you can, but think about before you do that you have the basics done, the basic settings done.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you talked about Lynn saving her alt texts and images and things like that, is that a separate place to save it, or do you use that same backup vid thing?
For me to say that to you, Bernard, it's always a good idea to have a secondary document of the alt tags and descriptions, because if you have one electrical site and you're going to do, I don't know, New York City, and then you're going to do the next one in the Bronx, and you want to have your alt tags and descriptions a little different from New York City site to the Bronx, if you're trying to dominate a particular area that's kind of close together, and that way you'll have different rankings for different keywords, because all you're really doing is telling Google that there's more content on your individual sites that pertains to those images. Because when they're looking at the images, they're only looking at images. But when you put the alt tags and descriptions on the back end, now they're adding that content into the total package of the content. So the more keyword variations, like if you put the exact same keyword and the exact same description on every one of your pictures, it's the wrong way to do it. You want a variation of them, but in niche related terms, if that makes sense.
No, I think it makes sense, but how do you're saying you put that in a different place, like a Word document? So
so what you do, set yourself up a spreadsheet, a Google Docs spreadsheet for free, or on an Excel one, and have columns matching the alt tags. So as you do the images, what I would do is I'd say this image is on the home page, right? And these are the labels to go with it. And the way I work on a home page, I start with the first image down to the last image on that page. So I can then say home page image 1 is this alt tag, is this description, it's right? And then image 2 is this. And it just means that if for any reason, right, and WordPress and all these softwares can go wrong when you do updates, right? And we found this with various products that you do an update and you can wipe things out, and you go back in and go, well, what did I have in image 1 last week? I can't remember. So keep a simple spreadsheet of all your alt tags, and that makes it a lot easier. We are on the future builds, we are designing them in a way that you're going to enter in a URL into the magic form in the future, so you can upload everything to one place, whether it's a media library or a Google Drive or somewhere like that, we can share it publicly. And then we're looking into actually adding the alt tags to the images so that way then you could load the images into an online drive already with the alt images alt tags in, ready, done. And it means then you don't enter it into WordPress, because WordPress library is always fun in that way. So
Yes.
Don's just saying these are the fields I use: alt text, title, caption, description, file URL, latitude, longitude. And there are products out there that can add all this information into the image itself. So then you save it on a Google Drive, and then use the URL inside our software that loads the image up.
Right. Okay. Thank you guys very much.
No, you're welcome, Bernard. Not a problem. Right, let's switch over to Lynn.
First of all, before Lynn starts talking, do you guys know how to raise your hand in Zoom? Does everybody know how to do that? No, but I mean, not your physical hand, but the digital hand.
Yeah, there's a button that says reaction just below you. You click on the reaction tab, and on there it says raise hand. You can raise your hand, and you'll appear up in line. And we'll. It saves me having to search for you if you're waving. So hello, Lynn.
The whole meeting, because not only can you raise your hand for the question, but then we see it and it pulls you up more closer to the top in the gallery view.
Right, mine isn't. Mine's a silly thing. How do I know I've been told not to overthink it, but say I've got a website there, and how do I work out how far away to put the next one?
That's easy, very easy. So if I get a Google Maps up a minute, right, that's the best way to show you, and then I can explain more on here.
I'm going to say, can I say something real quick, Lynn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about it this way. How far away is one shopping center versus another shopping center for you?
In my case, I've got 2 in one town.
10 miles, 20 miles?
Maybe 5 miles. I don't know.
Okay, so if they're 5 miles apart, then you have an overlap. They're very competitive. For what we're doing for service-based industry websites, my opinion is if you had them, let's say, on a radius that the website's going to cover 30 miles, and if you had a 10 to 15 mile overlap between the two, then you could create a competitive edge for one customer renting your site versus another, and you can have them compete for the edges that are on both websites. So if the guy's renting your site and you're covering, let's say, 10 kilometers, in diameter, and he's taking care of all those locations, and then you say to him, hey, by the way, I have my other website that covers this area, and it happens to have all of these other cities that are very close to where you are already with this site. Would you like more of those locations? Because I can get you on that other site, or I can add those locations to your site. And you can create your own upsells to the clients that you have in your rental business. Does that make sense?
But in a very easy way, Lynn, right? Imagine I had a site in Croydon, okay? And I'm covering sort of this area in Croydon, if we zoom in a bit more. So I'd be covering all these little areas in Croydon, and then I would come out and I'd go, I'm going to hit Dartford, but Dartford's going to probably overlap a little bit into covering Bromley and parts of Croydon. There's no harm in them overlapping each other, and then you can work your way around. Romford. So you just your areas. Most people know their areas. So the thing is to pick good populations as well. London's may not necessarily be the best of examples I'm giving, but it's a highly populated area, so you can overlap in London. So you can set a site up. And another example as well is that if you're doing different niches, right, you could say to yourself, okay, well, I'm going to hit Epsom to start with in pest control, but I'm going to set up Croydon with electricians, and I'm going to see how they do as well. But it's all down to the mileage, and remember as well, the smaller area you do, right, the better chance you've got to charge for an upgrade. So if you're going to rent the site out to somebody, hello, Mr. Pest Control Man, I see you haven't got a website. I've got one ready with your name on. Would you like to rent it? He goes, yes, please. And he rents that site from you. And then you can then say to him, hey, how would you like to also, because you're in Croydon, how would you like to also be able to cover maybe Bromley, because you've just done Croydon on its own. And then you up the magic page to cover Bromley. And then you say, how'd you like to cover Sutton, Epsom? And you can gradually expand that the areas and the pages being built. Because I've shown the training how to create the physical pages.
Yeah.
Well, you just go back in and put a new location in there. All right. So you go, okay, I'm going to generate a new location, and it's good. I'm going to create a new group at the top, and I'm going to call it Epsom, and I'm going to create lower down the new location set, which is Epsom. Boom, generate the pages. Okay. Right. And then you say to him, hey, how far out do you want to go? Do you want to go out a bit further? Do you want to hit West Kingston? Do you want to hit Romford? And in fact, in this case, if you're covering Croydon, I'll set a new site up for Romford because it's far enough away if you look on the map. Yeah. Yeah. So where for London, I would set up, 6-7 sites all the way around London. And then also I'd set up a central one for London. Now, London's going to be a pain in the backside to rank for because there's a lot of competition. But when we get into more PBN building and linking, what we can do then is we could take the Watford site and have a post in the background pointing to your London site. And gradually Google will go, okay, well, Mr. Watford is recommending the London site, on one of his posts. And eventually London gets pushed up as well. And you end up being the leader in London, and no one can do anything about it.
Okay, thank you.
I hope that sort of makes some sense for you.
Yeah.
Marvelous. Thank you, Lynn. Right, let's swap these around a minute. And let's see if we can now hear Chris. Have you fixed your mic, Chris?
Is it working this time round? Yeah, we go.
Yes.
It's just a
How are
setting
you
in
doing,
the background.
buddy? All right.
I'm very well, thank you, my friend. Very well indeed. A bit of an overlap on a few things, but I won't try and repeat it too much. So I'm looking at the alt tags and the image optimization stuff. Gone through and done done quite a few of them. Is there any reason why something like SEO Quake won't pick up or say that there's no alt text on images and stuff? Is there a setting that's blocking something, or have I got something I'm doing wrong?
That's interesting. I haven't come across it myself. What I suggest the best thing to do, if you can drop a ticket in with your logins, I will pop in and have a look over the weekend and see what's happening and work out why. And if it's something that's just your site initially, we'll get it resolved. If it's more than that, and then we'll find out why. Sure. I haven't had it before on my sites. So it's a bit of a strange one, really. But there's another tool, and I can't remember what it's called, but I will ask a friend of mine what it is and share it in the group, that you can test your alt images online as well, so you can check that they're working right.
Excellent.
I
was just checking to see how it was. I'd done I'd spun out the different context and all the rest of it. I thought I better check how they're looking, and it didn't come up. And then I put in just normal one-liners, and it still didn't come up. So I'll work with you on that. I'll make a little video to show you that as well. My other question obviously was a bit like Lynn's with the spreading like a wave. So we're looking at 10, 20-mile radiuses, or 30-mile radiuses besides 10, 20 miles apart as a
if we
sweeping generalization.
If we base this on renting the sites out initially, and I know some of you want to get into lead generation and use products like Lead Simplify and things like that, and that's fine, but we don't. The idea of this is to get you started and get you building sites and get you understanding Magic Page plugin. They're the main things for this product. So it's really, you start on a smaller area. So if I showed Croydon an example. Let's say Croydon, it's at the area of Croydon. Let's say it was 20 miles from one end of Croydon to the other as an example. Then from the central location of Croydon, and bang in the middle, you do a 20-mile radius. And then you say to Mr. Croydon, how far out do you want to travel? And he says, well, I travel 100 miles. All right. And you go, okay, well, you're renting my site at the minute for $300 a month. I can give you these locations that are 100 miles around Croydon, right? And there's 5 of them, and each extra one is going to cost you this much more. So before long, they've gone from $300 maybe to $800 to get those extra areas, and then you simply go into the back end and you create those pages for those locations.
And would I do that by creating a second group in the physical pages?
Correct.
A second group, and then I'd have one group for Croydon, one
Yeah.
group for whatever, Brentwood, where I am, or whatever. And
Yeah.
then they'd be on the same site, but different groups, and each group would have its
Yeah.
own radius set. So that's how I get the overlap on the same
Correct.
domain name, but with multiple locations.
Yeah, the reason you do
Perfect.
groups is if you had to go back, and let's say you wanted to update the Magic page, but you only wanted to add an update to the Magic page that covered Croydon, you can then go to the Croydon group and overwrite, rewrite the pages, right? By adding one, you add one piece of text on the Magic page that says, "We all love Croydon" in big letters, and then you regenerate the Croydon pages only in the Croydon group, and then another page you'll go and you say, "I want to put." So, there's a bit of news in Croydon about plumbing. I'm going to put a little article at the bottom purely for the Dartford people, and so that's why we group them up.
So if I could extrapolate that, I could get I could have a Croydon client.
Yeah.
Working in a radius of Croydon on the same domain. I could have whatever Dartford's a little bit to the east, isn't it? So I could have a Dartford client, and I could have my Croydon client overlap with my Dartford client.
Yes, and
so
in between Christmas and the New Year, I'm putting some super exciting training together for Magic Page plugin, and what that's going to do is show you location sets, right? And what the idea of that is, you'll be able to very simply go in and set up a different phone number, business name.
That was my next question.
Right? And things like that, without actually. So you generate all your pages for a certain mile radius from the central location. And let's just say that you did a big site for London and it included Dartford and Croydon, but Mr. Dartford wants to rent that section from you. You'll be able to go in and do a set where it changes the phone number for that mile radius to Dartford. It'll change the business name. It'll change the address, and everything can be changed really easily in location sets.
Okay, so let me interrupt here for a second. For one, we got to watch the time, Stephen.
Yeah.
It's already past 5. But for two, Chris, you're a real smart thinker in how you can work the tool. The tool can handle it if you can individually handle it on how you're thinking and how you're going to set it up. The next thing I'll say to you is, for some people that don't want to get into all of that, simplify it to this. If I'm an electrician and I need a website, and I want a website that's going to cover my general service area. Let me step back from electrician. Let's go to a house painter, because I can give you a better way to describe this. A house painter, like in my area in Florida, would want to paint the houses that are $500,000 to $1 million. Those are the houses that he wants. He doesn't want the $100,000 houses, the little small houses that they can barely afford to paint. So he wants the areas for his business to be on the expensive clients. So I create my sites for the painter to be in the area of the high-end homes. And that radius around that area is what I would focus on to rent to that client. So in a simplified term, you pick the area that you can rent the best and make the most money for the rental in many cases. So the client is only going to go so far, is what I'm going to say to you. 30, 60 kilometers or 30 to 60 miles is a max range for almost any service industry. They don't want to travel hundreds of miles to do a job. So if you come back and simplify it to, they're only going to go so far, and my business is I just want to rent the site to one client. Now, as these sites develop and you get into lead gen, then you start getting into where you can physically have one page go to one client, and he pays for all the leads that come from that particular page. There's all kinds of things we can do strategy-wise. But for those that are just getting started, keep it simple in your mind. You only want to rent a site to a client that's going to work in that area. And for those that are seeing beyond the horizon of, I can physically rent every single page to a different client with a different phone number. Yes, you can. but it takes the time to set that up. So I'm trying to keep it.
On another point, for those that want more advanced, an advanced group training, in January, I am planning on doing a Zoom call. So to get a rough idea, if guys can drop a support ticket in saying you'd be interested in a more advanced course, then I can respond to you guys in what you might be looking for, and then we'll book in a separate training session on those things. On a live call where I can answer your questions as well and bring you on more advanced techniques. I don't want to do it in the main group because we got a lot of people, we got a lot of members in who are starting out in this, and I don't want them feeling overwhelmed. I want them to feel like I've built a website and I've got going. So I'm certainly happy to do that for our members.
Can I ask just one more question on a different tangent? Yeah. Branding. The electricians gets talked about a lot. So would we be looking at having like Chris's Electricians Dartford, Chris's Electricians Watford, Chris's Electricians Croydon, or domain names just pick up whatever flows?
I got domain names that aren't even related to the niche that are out there.
I was just going to say Google used to doesn't have to be a name. Branding can be 3 generic symbols, like
free TS, for an example.
Yeah,
electrical. 1D2 or something, Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a specific company name or what you would think, like Coca-Cola as a brand. But anyway, it becomes
a brand.
Don't even get hung up on the brand, because brands are really liked by Google for the ranking. But in the same point, you want to diversify. You want to have brands. You want to have EMDs, the exact match domains in some cases, and you want to have, the domains that don't mean anything, and always compare what's ranking and what's not.
When you set up like let's say it was free T electrical in an area, right? And what you want to do is set up 1 or 2 or 3 social media pages. So Facebook, Twitter, maybe another one. And in the bio section, fill in as much as you can and put the URL in the bio section as well, if it'll let you. That way then, Free T Electrical will be found on Facebook, Twitter, maybe LinkedIn, yeah? And those together will help Google. Google will go, okay, there's a new Free T Electrical now in Dartford. Have they got any social media channels? Oh, they have, and they've been putting a few posts up. And I've got training coming up soon, which I'm just waiting on this build. Our devs are finalising the build of the blog site to be put into the PBN. And with that blog site, what will happen? Then you have your money site, you have blog sites, and then social media. And we got a plugin that automatically, when you post on your money site, will bounce it all the way down. All right, and then so that way then you don't have to worry about generating content for your social media, because it'll be done automatically down the chain of command.
Like it.
So and that all helps. That's why I say to people, do not get a GMB until you've got some sort of citations online and social media accounts, because GMBs will stick. Google My Business listings will stick 10 times longer if you've got the backing. It's like building a house. You wouldn't just go, right, let's stick a house on that bit of grass over there and I'll put the foundations on top. It's just not done. Build your foundations first, because then the business itself will stay solid with the domain name.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you for your time. Perfect.
No problem. Let's change the spotlight.
Thanks for all your feedback, Chris, by the way, too.
Yeah.
It helps
Now,
everybody.
just before we bring Bob in, what I'm going to do very quickly is say goodbye to people on the channels that on Facebook, because I forgot to take them off on the other channels. We'll stay in the Inner Circle group, but I'm just going to switch some. I'll bring Bob in while I switch him off as well. Add him to Spotlight. Hello, Bob.
Hello.
Oh, you're not echoey today. You're sounding good.
How's my headphone? Better?
Yeah, perfect, buddy.
Stephen,
Perfect.
have you checked your messages, by the way?
Not recently. I've been busy on calls all day.
I meant Stephen.
Oh, sorry.
Huh?
Have you checked your messages?
My messages from...
Just in case. We were supposed to have a couple other people that were supposed to join. Maybe they messaged.
No, it's okay. the person who's joining will be in a couple of minutes.
Okay,
There's no. I've said to them, don't rush, so it's okay.
all
So
right.
while I switch off some social media channels, Bob, how can we help you?
Well, I may have rented a site today.
Another one.
I was making calls and I have somebody very interested, but some of the things we've been talking about and this situation has raised some questions